Super Bowl 79, Super Spectacular. Brought to you by your neighborhood McDonald's restaurants. At McDonald's, we do it all for you. And by Flagship Bank's 24-hour jack. Flagship, all the bank you'll ever need.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tony Segreto. 20 hours from now, Super Bowl XIII will kick off right down there on the 35-yard line in the Orange Bowl. It'll be the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Dallas Cowboys in a rematch of the 1976 Super Bowl, which Pittsburgh won 21-17, ironically right here in Miami. Tomorrow, both teams will try to become the first to win 3 Super Bowls. But tonight, we'll be showing you how the Super Bowl evolved, how it's run. We'll be talking to some fans, some stars of past Super Bowls, and some will be part of tomorrow's game. If you're sitting up here tomorrow, you'll be one of more than 100 million Americans who will watch Super Bowl XIII. But every person who has experienced all the hoopla and build-up that is part of Super Bowl week comes away with their own impression of this, America's greatest single sporting event, which is more than just 60 minutes of football for the World Championship, because for one whole week of celebrated madness every year, it is a super spectacle.
You have to really experience it and be in it to really realize what it's like. It's the most different feeling in the world for a professional football player.
The best way I can describe it is a carnival-like atmosphere.
We eat dolphins for lunch and supper and dinner.
It's a capitalistic commercial form of American sports.
If you're not careful, you can be carried away with it all.
It's just a type of event where the excitement is generated from the moment you know you're going to go to the Super Bowl to the time of the game's over.
It's the whole season, the whole career, your whole life at that point, just capsuled into one Sunday afternoon.
The Super Bowl is probably the greatest spectacular there is in sports, or in almost anything today, and
It's just not a damn bit important to me if we're not in it. I'm not interested in spectacles.
Now, this is the Vince Lombardi Trophy for Super Bowl X.
I think it's the super week in international sports, more so than any other single event, more so than the Kentucky Derby or the Indy 500 or any of the other great classics. As a matter of fact,
it's the greatest thing that this country has to offer.
You don't really. You're talking to Howard Cosell. You're not talking to a jock. If you want to know what I think the Super Bowl means in this country, I think in the sweep of the society, it means absolutely nothing. In effect, it's a 2-week hype.
It's mainly madness. I think that it's excess and a lot of baloney, but it's so much fun.
Nothing more than a Roman holiday. And it goes on with more ballyhoo, and I just hope that sometime they don't forget to kick off.
On Super Bowl Sunday, my dad glues himself in front of the television set and yells at anybody that comes into the room. And so I leave, my mom leaves. He yells at our dogs, so the dogs leave.
My brothers and my dad, they get in front of the TV and watch the Super Bowl, and they make such a big thing out of some dumb football game.
The Super Bowl has become for us kind of a national shrine. It's not a game to be played tomorrow. It's kind of a religion.
Religion or not, the scope of the Super Bowl is extensive. Let's face it. It's the biggest football game we've got. But it's also big business, big media, big parties. In short, big money. So it's a big operation to run. The National Football League runs it, and they run it well. And because they run it well, the benefits that accrue to the NFL, the media, and the host city, Miami in this instance, are enormous. 7 days of Super Bowl events are planned far in advance and orchestrated exactly to that plan. But as Ike Seamans tells us, this event of far-reaching magnitude did not originate from any organized plan, but rather from the darkness of chaos.
1965, the National Football League and the American Football League were at war, fighting for players and fans. The owners realized that if the game were to survive, a merger would have to occur. In June of that year, a tentative agreement was reached.
The concept of the Super Bowl game was part of the original merger discussions between Lamar Hunt and representatives of the American Football League and representatives of the National Football League. A lot of the old NFL owners were dragged screamingly into the merger, and they weren't anxious for a postseason classic to become known as the Super Bowl because they felt that the NFL champion had sufficient dignity without having to play the AFL champion.
Football line up here. Got to take it down, fella. Okay.
But dignity aside, on January 15th, 1967, the first championship game was played between the NFL Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs from the AFL. Behind the scenes, those same NFL owners who wanted nothing to do with the game they thought was beneath their dignity were applying intense pressure on the man whose name would eventually be placed on the championship trophy, Packer coach Vince Lombardi.
It was very, very important to the NFL, the NFC, the National Football League Conference, to beat the AFC because at that time they were the upstarts. And actually the owners put more pressure on them in the game. They wrote them letters, phone calls, and then they were all at the game and meeting him and seeing him and saying, oh, you gotta win, Vince.
He won 35-10. But few fans remember today that the game was not a sellout, nor was it called the Super Bowl.
It's common knowledge, I guess, how the Super Bowl got its name. Lamar Hunt of the Kansas City Chiefs had a daughter who was bouncing a big ball of very bouncy material, which they nicknamed the Super Ball. And at a meeting of the National Football League owners, Lamar Hunt says, let's call it the Super Bowl. Well, he was almost laughed out of the room. In the first 2 or 3 years, the league refused to officially designate the game as the Super Bowl. They called it the National Football League Championship, or the World Professional Football Championship. It was only about the 3rd Super Bowl that they came to use this name. Now they wouldn't sell it for $40 billion.
And for good reason. The Super Bowl quickly grew. Today, just to go to it is a status symbol.
It's a gathering together of all the emotions and the feelings that a person would have about life generally.
I believe it was Walter Cronkite who said that the Super Bowl is a place where everybody comes together once a year to be seen at an event that means nothing. But it really does mean a great deal to possibly 100 million Americans.
With an audience like that, even top show business personalities stand in line just to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl.
It was, I guess, the most tremendous thing that happened to me. You know, it's after the Super Bowl that you find that out. After that, I went to Hong Kong, Singapore, Sydney, Australia, and wherever I went, Chinese would hang out of the buses and say, oh, look, the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl.
But more than anything else, the Super Bowl is big business for the host city, the networks, and the NFL.
Before the first game, I think we perhaps spent maybe 2 months prior to the game where we first began thinking about making the plans. We've been working on this game for 2 years, for the most part of 2 years, beginning with hotel preparations, beginning with ordering certain things and working on general overall planning.
Why does it take so long? Money is the primary answer. The NFL will spend $1 million to stage the Super Bowl, but the league office will earn $1 million. That comes from a $2.5 million ticket sale and $6 million from NBC for the TV rights. But don't feel sorry for the network. It charges $370,000 for a commercial minute at the Super Bowl. There will be 22 during the game. But perhaps the greatest beneficiary of all is South Florida. 20,000 hotel rooms here are occupied at premium prices, and bars, nightclubs, restaurants, and tourist attractions are packed.
If you figure some 60,000 people coming in, spending, and we're not talking about airline fares now, but spending the equivalent of $500 a person in this area,
You got a lot of money.
What do you need, about $40 to $50 million to be precise. And there's another economic benefit to South Florida that is almost impossible to measure. It is free publicity, and it comes from here. This is the press room that the NFL provides for the 1,500 to 2,000 reporters who will cover the game. Everything is geared to help them turn out millions of words about the Super Bowl.
You walk into the press room, you get a press kit, you have film supplied by NFL Films, you have everything there.
I'm surprised that they don't write our stories for us. If you were ever to come down here, I've always threatened to take all the handouts and releases and football periodicals and brochures that they give you and collect them for the week and then take them to a grocery store and put them on a scale and see how much they weigh. They got to weigh at least it has to equal the poundage of a small boy.
You could actually walk into the press headquarters at the Americana, never leave the press room and win a Pulitzer Prize.
There is no question that the media has helped to make the Super Bowl the phenomenon that it is, but the press cannot be given all the credit.
It's what the American public wants, so you give it to them. You don't take it away.
We feel like possibly we're overdoing it, but we're not overdoing it as long as people are that interested in it.
Pro football is the greatest spectacle that sports has ever produced.